Charles E. Bowles, also known as Black Bart, was an American outlaw, noted for his many successful robberies and several poetic messages he left behind at the crime scenes. Considered a gentleman bandit with a reputation for style and sophistication, he was one of the most notorious stagecoach robbers to operate in and around Northern California during the 1870s and 80s. If you liked the video, please think about subscribing. Charles Bowles was born in Norfolk, England in 1829 to John and Maria Bowles. He was the third of 10 children, and when he was 2 years old, his parents immigrated to Jefferson County, New York, where his father purchased a farm near Alexandria Bay. Some reports indicate that he was actually born there. Charles worked hard on the family farm with his brothers and sisters, and in 1849, at 20 years old, he and several of his brothers joined the California Gold Rush, prospecting in the North Fork of the American River near Sacramento. They had little success, and 2 of his brothers died, and he returned home in 1854 when he married Mary Elizabeth Johnson that same year. And by 1860, they had 4 children and were living near the town of Decatur, Illinois. Two years later, in 1862, at the age of 33, Bowles enlisted as a private in the 116th Illinois Regiment. He was a strong and devoted soldier and became a first sergeant within a year, and was seriously wounded at the Battle of Vicksburg. In June 1865, after 3 years of service, he was discharged and he returned home to his family in Illinois. On July 26, 1875, Bowles robbed his first stagecoach in Calaveras County, California, on the road between Copperopolis and Milton. He spoke with a deep voice, and he politely ordered the stage driver, John Shrine, to throw down the box. As Shrine handed over the strong box, Bowles shouted, "If he dares to shoot, give him a solid volley, boys." Seeing rifle barrels pointed at him from the nearby bushes, Shrine quickly handed over the strong box. The driver waited until Bowles vanished and then went to recover the empty strong box. And upon examining the area, he discovered that the men with rifles were actually carefully rigged sticks. Black Bart's first robbery netted him $160. Black Bart was afraid of horses and made all of his robberies on foot. Together with his poems, this earned him notoriety. He reportedly never once fired a weapon during his years as an outlaw. He was polite and used no foul language. He dressed in a long linen duster coat and a bowler hat, using a flour sack with holes cut for his eyes as a mask. He brandished a shotgun, but never used it, and all of these features became his trademarks. Bowles adopted the nickname Black Bart and proceeded to rob Wells Fargo stagecoaches at least 28 times across Northern California between 1875 and 1883. Including a number of times along the historic Siskiyou Trail between California and Oregon. He He only left 2 poems at the 4th and 5th robbery sites, but this came to be considered his signature and ensured his fame. Black Bart was quite successful, often taking in thousands of dollars a year. By the late 1870s, he was committing about 3 robberies per year, and by the early 1880s, that number increased to an impressive 5 per year. Black Bart's last holdup took place on November 3, 1883, at the site of his first robbery near Copperopolis, California. He ambushed a lone stagecoach as it was slowly traveling up a steep hill, which was a tactic he often used. As the stage approached the summit, Bowles stepped out from behind a rock with a shotgun in his hands. He forced the driver to unhitch the horse team and take them up over the crest of the hill. Bowles then tried to remove the strongbox, but it had been bolted to the floor and took some time to remove. One of the passengers, Jimmy Rolleri, and driver Reason McConnell peeked over the hill crest and saw Bowles leaving the stage with the strongbox. McConnell grabbed Rolleri's rifle and fired at Bowles, but missed twice. Rolleri took the rifle and fired as Bowles entered a thicket. Black Bart stumbled as if he had been hit. Running down to the thicket, the pair found a small, blood-stained bundle of mail that he had dropped. Bowles was indeed wounded in the hand by one of those shots. After running a quarter mile, he stopped and wrapped a handkerchief around his hand to control the bleeding. He found a rotten log and stuffed a small sack with the gold amalgam in it and kept $500 in gold coins. He hid his shotgun and fled the scene. After being wounded and forced to flee, he left behind his eyeglasses, some food, and a handkerchief with a laundry mark FX07. Wells Fargo detective James B. Hume found these at the scene. Hume and fellow detective Harry Morse contacted every laundry in San Francisco about the laundry mark. After visiting nearly 90 laundries, they finally traced it to Ferguson and Biggs California Laundry on Bush Street and were able to learn that the handkerchief belonged to a man who lived in a modest boarding house. The detectives learned that Bowles called himself a mining engineer and made frequent business trips that coincided with the Wells Fargo robberies. After initially denying he was Black Bart, Bowles eventually admitted he had robbed several Wells Fargo stages, though he confessed only to crimes committed before 1879. The police report said that Bowles was a person of great endurance and exhibited genuine wit under most trying circumstances, and was extremely proper and polite in behavior. Wells Fargo only pressed charges on the final robbery, and he was convicted and sentenced to 6 years in San Quentin prison. He was released after 4 years for good behavior in January 1888. His health had deteriorated due to his time in prison. He had visibly aged, his eyesight was failing, and he had gone deaf in one ear. Reporters swarmed around him when he was released and asked if he was going to rob any more stagecoaches. "No, gentlemen," he replied, smiling, "I'm through with crime." Black Bart never returned to his wife after his release from prison, though he did write to her. In one of the letters, he said he was tired of being shadowed by Wells Fargo, felt demoralized, and wanted to get away from everybody. In February 1888, Bowles vanished. Rumors and theories abound about his disappearance, and there was even a copycat robber, but he was never seen again.